Alrighty, Trey Veston here, and I am again out in the great Northwest doing some manly man stuff. It's a beautiful day. Lying, it's 43 degrees currently. It's about 2:30 in the afternoon. Um, I am here. The fun thing I'm doing today is I'm taking my side-by-side out, my trusty 2018 Honda Pioneer 500. And we're going to do a little evaluation of it. If you're considering buying one of these, I'm going to go over the strengths and weaknesses of that vehicle and try and help you decide whether or not you should buy one. We are at the trailhead of Bald Mountain Lookout in Idaho, up Strychnine Creek Road. And for an interesting side story on how Strychnine Creek Road got its name, in my book Courts by Trey Veston on Amazon, I relay the story of that. It's actually based on a tragic event involving Chinese miners in the early 1900s. So anyway, buy the book, read the story of how this area, and actually we are about 100 yards from the site of the tragedy of how Strychnine Creek got its name. And yep, and in the book, this is the area where the final showdown happens. So anyway, get the book, but on to the rest of the review. Okay, let's take a look at the rough overview of the vehicle. This is a 2018 Honda Pioneer 500. It's not stock. I bought it at Max Cycle in Clarkston, Washington. Brand new, and I'm trying to think of the price. I believe it was just under 10 grand. It's about the cheapest, side-by-side you could get that was not a Chinese pile of crap. So it's got all sorts of accessories, so we'll go over those and why I added them. Okay, we'll start at the front of the vehicle. We've got a KFI Stealth winch. I believe it's 3,500 pounds. That was added on by the dealer. They had a deal going that when you bought this, it came with, I think, up to $700 worth of accessories that they would add for you. So I opted for the street legal kit, which included a rear view mirror, which I've removed. I've added a side mirror because the rear view one, just not a lot of room in there. And with the gun mount, it's pretty useless anyway. So they added a winch and the roof and the street legal kit, which are all great mods. The roof, extremely important, especially when it's crappy weather like this and could rain. I added these lights. These are my Bigfoot lights. They aid in seeing well at night, but I've never driven this at night in the woods. So we're probably going to do that today because it's going to be dark here in about an hour and a half, and we got a long trail. The biggest addition were the tires. Now, the P500 comes with stock, I believe it's 24-inch tires, and they are barely adequate. I took it up in the trails once. I believe I took it up this trail actually, and it just did not do well. And so I've upgraded to 26-inch, and the brand of these, let's see, these are a 26 by 9 by 12, and I think these are, it says Manda, or Wanda, Wanda tires. And anyway, they're cheap Amazon, probably Chinese or Vietnamese crappy tires, but they've actually worked really well. I've got, I think, 500 miles on this thing now, and the tires are doing pretty well. I rarely ever have to go into four-wheel drive. So other than the tires, the biggest thing is I added this rack and storage box on the back, and this rack is actually a SUV rack off of Amazon for, I think it was $100, $90, and I believe it's a 48-inch wide by 36, or 48 inches long by 36 inches wide, something like that. But I just bolted it on the factory rack, which you can see underneath here, using the supplied hardware. And it was designed to bolt onto an SUV roof rack, but it works perfect as a larger rack for the back of this thing. And so you can see, even with the box on there, I've got room for my chainsaw in the back, extra gas cans, or a deer if I ever hunt again. And so, yeah, and then I added a hitch, and that is just easier to pull me out when I get stuck. If I ever get stuck, I've never been stuck in this thing. So the box is an aluminum. It's a diamond plate. It's just a semi box that I had on an old semi I bought to convert to a dump truck. So removed the box, painted it with some sort of cheap bed coating thing, and then I mounted Kolpin gun mount racks to the top, and those hold my shovel and axe, which are actually required if you're off-roading, and you got to have a bucket, some sort of water carrier, and a shovel and an axe to be riding around. And then it's inside here, I've got my survival pack, which has first aid kit, food, extra clothing, fire starters, lots of paracord, all the regular survival stuff, and my extra Carhartt jacket in there. And then of course I've added the Gulpin rifle boot rack. It is hunting season, but I do not have an Idaho license, so there's no gun in there. I just have my trusty G29 10mm Glock on my hip. I've got a machete mounted there for clearing brush. And that's pretty much it for the exterior mods, other than the rearview mirror. Inside, I've got another knife, Glock knife mounted there, just because I've won a few of those in matches, so I always just have them everywhere. And then I've got a little pack that goes there that I throw my car keys in and my phone and extra magazines. Anything I need to keep out of the dust and dirt and rain goes in there. Favorite is my little hula girl. She has held up incredibly well for 500 miles. I've got a cup holder thingy so you can put larger water bottles in here. I've updated the switches. I've added the horn, my Sasquatch light switch, and a winch in and out button. And then I also added a little stick-on cheap LED light, and that's just kind of a interior light that's still stuck for all these years. And also the latest addition I did was the windshield, and that has helped tremendously to keep the weather off of me. It keeps the wind off you when you're riding, keeps most of the rain out, branches out. You can see it's got some battle scars from busting through brush, but it was worthy addition. So anyway, that's it for mods. I carry this around, tow it with my trusty four-wheeler, or a 4Runner, and the trailer is a Summit trailer. It's made in Oregon. It's the Alpine series, and this is not stock. I have flipped the axle and went to, I believe those are a 30-inch or 29-inch tall tire. Give me extra ground clearance. The front rack is just an extra headache rack I had from a pickup. I bolted that on there. I also have a solar shower that I bolt on the cross rack. I have a PVC tube for showers. But this trailer is really cool. It's held up really well. All the lights still work. The rear door are the ramps. So the ramps, you put them back on the hinges there and close it, and that's how you get in and out. So it's been working awesome. So anyway, I think the side-by-side is around 1,000 pounds, trailers 800, so with gear and everything, it's about 2,000 pounds I'm towing, and the 4Runner does it just perfectly. So anyway, let's hit the trail before it gets dark, and I'll show you why the Pioneer is much better than a lot of the other choices out there if you do actual trail riding. Alrighty, this is the trail system we are going to go on, and the reason I selected the Pioneer 500 Honda is because it is 50 inches wide, and all the trail systems up here, they limit you to a 50-inch max width. The cutters that the Forest Service used to cut trails are 50 inches wide, and that's by design. They don't want giant side-by-sides on the trails. And so we are going to be going up Bald Mountain Lookout, and that is right there. Okay, here we are approaching the trailhead. And this is a pretty rough trail. Let's see, we'll switch it to automatic transmission. I can do manual, paddle shifters, or I can just set it to auto, leave it and drive. And we'll just climb up, and since I'm videoing, we'll just leave it in four-wheel drive. We are going, okay, we will not be going all the way to Bald Mountain Lookout because it's 5.5 miles of gnarly trail, and we got about an hour of daylight. So we're just going to go a little ways up here and try the capabilities V500. Okay, first time I came up here. Oh, this camera's focusing on these Kelly humps. I would bottom out on these because I don't have very much ground clearance with the stock tires. So with the 2-inch taller tires, and then I turned the coilovers up to their max settings, which gave me about another inch or so. So now I can go over just about every Kelly hump without bottoming out. And the first thing you'll notice about this vehicle is it's loud. It is my ex-girlfriend does not enjoy riding in it because it's loud and it's bouncy. It's got a very stiff suspension and it hurts her boots from what I've been told. But I miss those. Oh, there's a big nasty Kelly hump. No bottoming out. Fairly mild section of trail, not too bad. And at 43 degrees, 44, dropping, with no gloves and just a Carhartt sweatshirt. It's a little chilly, but my hand is actually getting cold because it's above the windshield, so it's getting wind. But the rest of my body is not. Okay, let's see. Now this is all new. Last time I was up here, looks like they've logged it. Holy crap. Yeah, that's sad. This used to be just a beautiful dark trail, and they have logged the crap out of it. So I don't see any tire tread. Doesn't look like anybody's been up here to use this trail since they logged the crap out of it, so but this is also a good illustration of one of the weaknesses of the Pioneer is the undercarriage. It has sort of plastic skid plates, but these sticks get stuck in them. And to get a really good quality aluminum skid plate, it's about $700. So let's see. We'll do an action shot of negotiating over these sticks and see what happens. Stable when going over obstacles, and so yeah, you can see from the video that sticks are no bueno. So not sure how much farther we're going to go up this thing. It looks like the trail's pretty much been just obliterated. So that's sad. Okay, I think we're going to just not go any further on this trail. It looks like it's just completely obliterated by logs and sticks, and because I don't have any aftermarket skid plate protection on that, I run a real good chance of getting a stick in a CV joint or stuck up underneath and damaging something. So that's one of the cons of the Pioneer 500, is factory armor's lacking, but it is available. As I said, it's about 700 bucks. So the other con of the P500 is power. Top speed's about 42. It has, I think, 31 horsepower, and that's about what a good riding lawnmower has. Actually, the Razor, the Polaris Razor 570, I believe, yeah, that is the other machine I was considering. I test drove it. It is a lot more sports car feeling. It is smoother than this. It's got 66 horsepower. Okay, for some reason the old video got cut off. I think we're just going over the cons of the P500, which I believe we're going over the horsepower levels. It's low, 31. Not very impressive. Its nearest competitor is the Polaris Razor. I test drove one of those, loved it. Very comfortable, more sports car feel. This feels more like a golf cart on steroids versus the Razor feels more like a fun, cool off-road machine. Razor was also 50 inches. It wasn't too long a wheelbase. Better articulation, more ground clearance, and power I think was around 60 something, so over twice the horsepower. Price was pretty competitive. I think it was like another 1,000 in the one I was looking at, 1,000 more, so about 10.5 or so, or 10.8. The bad thing is, the first outing in this thing, I was on this trail. I went to the top to the Bald Mountain Lookout, and there's guys up there with a newer Razor, and they're having a beer up at the picnic table, and I pulled up, and they came over, and they wanted to check out the Honda, and I said, wow, you guys have a great machine. I almost bought one of those. And they said, oh, well, be thankful you didn't. I said, this thing's a piece of crap, and we've had nothing but trouble with it. And they showed me where the rear rack plastic was melting. So there's the rear rack is made out of a molded plastic with, I think, metal reinforcements, but it was drooping down and melting because Polaris didn't do enough shielding. Said they've had ignition issues, electrical issues. They said it's about due for a belt. It's less than a year old, so they were not happy with their Polaris experience. My sister, on the other hand, her and her husband are big Polaris fans. They love them. They report no issues with theirs, and they ride them hard. They're farmers down southern Idaho, and they also go down to the Glamis sand dunes every year, and they just love them. And they're just superior dune running machines. And I think they have like the thousands. They have turbos. They have $25,000-$30,000 Razors. So a lot different than what you're looking at here for a $10,000 Honda Pioneer 500. This is more for exploring the woods slowly and packing stuff out and negotiating some tighter trails. And those bigger side-by-sides are open desert running, gravel road riding, that sort of thing. They won't fit up here, but you still see a lot of guys around here buy these giant side-by-sides, and they go on trails that you could take a Jeep on with air conditioning and heating and all that good stuff. So it didn't make a lot of sense to me to buy a big wide ATV or UTV up here. I might actually go back to a Kodiak ATV. That's what I had before. But I wanted something I could take my dog with me, that he could ride on, that my girlfriend could go with me, ride with me. And now my dear dog, he passed away earlier this year, and my girlfriend and I broke up, so just me. So I'm really thinking about getting rid of it, but it's just a great machine for the mountains. Sometimes I miss the possibility of a ATV, of a mid-size ATV. Even though there's no roof, there's no windshield, you're more exposed to the elements, you can still go a lot more places, and with a lot less pucker factor of tipping over than the P500. But anyway, it's up to the individual what they're going to do. There's a huge fan base of these, a lot of aftermarket support, so I'm overall pretty happy with it. It does have some serious limitations, but it also has some pretty serious strengths as well. So anyway, if you're considering the P500, hope you found this video informative and gave you some different perspectives on the pros and cons of it, and help you make a better buying decision. All right, Trey Veston out, and I'm going to go get back in the rig, go to town, and try and stop at the Hoodoo Cafe in Harvard for some good burgers. All righty, Trey Veston out.